On the 1st of December 2023, I received a mail I was selected for a 9-month deployment in Erbil, the capital of Iraqi Kurdistan. Before leaving, I had mixed feelings about going to this part of the world. But from the moment I stepped off the plane, I was surprised by the diversity of the region. Talking with locals, experiencing their cultures and feeling thousands years of history changed my view on this country. My time here was far different from what I initially expected, and it's a story I want to share. But first, I want you to forget everything you heard about Iraq. Let's start at the beginning, January 2024. The Middle East is on edge after the war in Gaza started, and I am still not entirely convinced that going to Iraqi Kurdistan is a good idea. In my mind, I thought of everything that happened in the country in recent years, and as I pack my bags, I am asking myself, is it really safe, and will it be safe? What was making me even more undecisive were the mixed reactions of my family, parents and friends. Some supportive, but others filled with fear and worry. Anyway, I was packed and ready to departure the next morning, but
explosions rocked the city of Erbil after an Iranian attack. The explosions were heard in an area about 40 kilometers northeast of Erbil, in semi-autonomous Iraqi Kurdistan.
After this attack, my flight was postponed by 2 weeks. During that time, my nervosity and doubts just grew. I had a chance to back out from my position in Iraq with relocation elsewhere. I could be in a different country, away from any conflict. The thought of cancelling the deployment seemed more and more logical every day. But in life, humans do not often do what's logical. 2 weeks later, I was in a plane, direction Erbil, the capital of Iraqi Kurdistan and home for more than 1.5 million. And also a place where I will spend the most of the year. Before heading out to explore the city, let's look at this map explaining the current situation in the region. Iraq is divided. While the most of the country is controlled by the government of Federal Iraq, its northern part, about the size of Switzerland, is autonomous Kurdistan region, with its own parliament and legislation. Kurds are an ethnic group native to Turkey, Iran, Iraq and Syria, with their own culture, language and history, with a strong sense of identity. Today, Kurds are known as the biggest ethnic group without its own state. Right after my arrival, I didn't hesitate and set out to the heart of the city. The best place where to find out more about Erbil's history and culture is the iconic Erbil Citadel. The citadel stands as a monumental structure in the city center. Its history dates back to the 5th millennium BC, possibly even earlier, making Erbil the longest continuously inhabited town in the world. Where Mesopotamia was home to many powerful kingdoms, Erbil was called Arbi-Ilu, which means four gods, a name just multiplying its historical significance. Even Alexander the Great passed through the region after his victory at the Battle of Gaugamela, where he defeated Persian army 5 times bigger in size than his own. The citadel has survived countless attacks, especially the brutal Mongol siege in the 13th century that cut down its inhabitants from outside world for a full 6 months. Not that far ago, Erbil was just a small town. After the First World War, just 12,000 people called it home. Now the city is rapidly changing, new skyscrapers are rising every year. Tourism is also on the rise. A major attraction is the Grand Bazaar. This vibrant market, right in the front of the citadel, offers unique sounds, sights and smells. One can find everything here, be it souvenirs, clothes, fruits, vegetable, scorpion killer powder, drone, or even old banknotes with Saddam Hussein. While shopping, I frequently noticed that children are involved in the daily activities of the market. It was also sad to see that fires in the bazaars happen more often than expected. The most serious one destroyed a section of the Grand Bazaar old buildings. I quickly learned that having breakfast at one of the cafes overlooking the bazaar is a perfect way how to start the day. Here is a small warning, the following part of the video will make you hungry. Speaking of food, let me tell you, local cuisine deserves its own documentary. The local breakfasts are so rich, full of flavors and kept me full for nearly 2 days. They often consist of gay mehwa dibis, a cream served with date syrup, kahi, a pastry with honey, full a bean dip, then a lentil soup, hummus, eggs and much more. Meat is the #1 ingredient here, with dishes that surprised me. Both testicles, sheep brains and guts are all on the menu. Dolma, vegetable stuffed with meat and rice, and masgoof, a traditional carp fish eaten here for centuries, are among the most popular meals.
1 hour, it's good. Then it's on firewood.
Apparently, masgoof even led to the capture of Saddam Hussein in 2003. It's said that he risked exposure just to enjoy his favorite meal. Kurds have a deep love for anything green, and I was surprised that unripe fruit is often eaten. Even fresh pistachios like this, or these nuts belonging to the same family. In spring, these green, unripe almonds are among the most favorite snacks. Dried nuts are here both a tasty source of energy and a bargain. Let's not forget all the delicious Middle Eastern sweets filled with pistachios, walnuts, or topped with aromatic rosewater. And of course, ubiquitous shisha and cigarettes needs to be mentioned. No wonder everyone smokes here. The cheapest pack of cigarettes costs just $50. Every night in local cafes, people gather to play cards, dominoes, or mahmusa with shisha pipes or cigarettes in hand. The most popular card game is called Kankan, where players aim to lay down cards with more than 51 points. The higher the card, the greater the score. Above all, the most essential part of daily life here is chai. The strong brown tea, often with spices such as cardamom and cinnamon, or rose leaves, is more than just a drink. It's a ritual. A day without tea or chai is not a good day. No matter where I went, whether visiting friends or trekking in the mountains, chai was always there. I was amazed at how far people would go, even carrying heavy metal kettles and water on difficult hikes just to enjoy a cup of tea at the journey's end. Be it in Zoragvan, a beautiful valley where you can cool down in hot summer, or Ravandus, a favorite spot for many, a breathtaking mountain canyon, tea was always part of the experience. It is however sad that local nature, and Ravandus especially, faces several problems, and one of the most serious one in my opinion is plastic waste pollution. Estimates say that 7 tons of waste are being dumped into the environment daily. Out of that, 35% is plastic waste. So, even after a simple tea break, used cups often became part of the landscape. Chai was also a constant companion during my many trips to Choman, my favorite place in Iraqi Kurdistan. My first visit there was in winter, and I returned several times throughout the year, so I observed local landscape changing with the seasons. One of Choman's most famous natural wonders is Gomi Felaf, in translation, mysteriously called a lake of deception. Reaching the lake can be challenging, particularly in winter, and in just a few months of spring, the landscape transforms dramatically. Choman itself is a small town, just a few kilometers from the Iranian border, surrounded by the tallest mountains in the area, including the highest peak of Iraq, Chikadar. Here it is with its typical pyramid shape. As Chikadar lies on the Iran-Iraq border, climbing there is not advisable and safe. On the other hand, nearby Mount Halgurd, a majestic peak about the same size, can be reached easily, and once I saw the mountain and its impressive rock formation guarding the town of Choman, I knew I have to reach its summit during my time in Kurdistan. However, climbing Halgurd is the best in summer because of weather and snow conditions, so I decided I'll wait a few months. During the spring, there is still so many things to do, especially for people who enjoy spending time in mountains and nature. I was just amazed by local flora, mainly by these red reverse tulips. They are more than just a beautiful sight, an important part of Kurdish mythology. Legends say these tulips grew where the blood of martyrs and heroes was spilled. Their bottom blossoms, with accumulated water, remind tears. Some believe that the tears of Zin from the tragic tale of Mem and Zin. Mem, a noble hero who loved Zin, was betrayed and killed, and the flowers are said to have grown from his blood. The tears of the tulips are believed to mirror Zin's endless sorrow over her last love. A part of these tulips, a mountain plant called Revas, was interesting insight to the local culture. Revas grows only in the spring, shortly after the snow melts. First, it needs to be dug out from the ground and then peeled. Its sour stems are a favorite delicacy and whole Kurdistan loves them. Local hills are also home to fascinating wildlife. Bears, many snakes, lizards, turtles, and even endangered leopards. In summer, Choman is known as one of few places offering an escape from heat, which can reach over 50 degrees Celsius inside Erbil. Snow and glaciers are here throughout the whole year, including the famous Persia Glacier. Of course, shisha, board games and fun must not be missed out. I was persuaded to try snow sliding, just with one rule: breaking is forbidden. Seeing Halgurd mountain on every move reminded me my goal I set back in the winter. I felt it in my bones, the time for me to climb its peak has come. However, the mountain is marked by Iran-Iraq war, still hiding many unexploded landmines, and certain areas can be very dangerous. Movement without the knowledge of locals is not recommended here. Luckily, I met with Dlshad, a local experienced guide and my friend. He did some trips before and it was fun. What I truly appreciate is Dlshad lifestyle, which is close to nature and focuses on living in harmony with the environment. Together with Dlshad, we decided to try our luck and reach the top of Halgurd. All the way up to 3,607 meters above the sea level. The way can be partially shortened by car, but still poses a significant climb. Along the way, we encountered many shepherds with their animals and spent the night under bright stars in the heart of the mountains. Once above 3,000 meters, the climb became more challenging with every step due to the thinning air with less oxygen and also the constant reminders of past conflicts. Halgurd Peak is now almost within arm's reach. So right now we are at the highest reachable point in Iraq, Halgurd Mountain, with 3,607 meters. There is the highest mountain, which is about 4 meters higher, but it's on the Iranian border, and right now there are some soldiers, so it's not allowed to climb the mountain. Now we need to go all the way back to our car, which is pretty far.
Wow!
Adios.
Once we descended back to Dlshad's home, I met his family and we had really interesting conversation about local life and history, explaining a lot of stuff I've seen so far in Kurdistan. Salar, the brother of Dlshad, will tell us more.
Step by step, I heard about my area's history from my nephews, from the other peoples in this area. They said, in my life, I remember more than 7 times my house destroyed because of the wars with Iran, Kurdish war, many times. When you talk with this person, you feel they are mostly angry because of that life. When you suggest for them to eating the food, they said, no, I don't love like this. They don't love life. They love to die. We don't have no one. They live with this grandparents' house. From 1980, every houses in my area, it was destroyed.
So basically nothing here is like older than 40 years.
No, we don't have a house.
Nothing is older.
40 years. When we hear the airplane from the sky, we're waiting to the sound of bombing. It's our feeling with the airplane, sadness. When I was child, me and my father, we made this house. My father said we should be making the walls inside higher than here. He said because we have a war, because we need to keep ourselves under the walls behind of the window. We have many villages. They have every person, every houses, every family, they died with the miners. Closest village to the Halgurd mountain, most families, they have one person, they died with the miners. If they didn't die, they lost hands, legs, eyes. 1 kilometer far away from Choman, we have mines. Until now, unfortunately, every year, 1 person or 2 persons maybe they die. We don't have a historical place, like a museum to a recording or saving, and we have many helicopters, many tankers. Some of the equipment is like this. Maybe I want to show you.
Tank mine, right?
Tank bomb. My family used it to the cutting of the sugar to drinking a tea, sugar like this, cutting the sugar. Many of the people around here, they use equipment after the war to them live.
Now it's good to see that Choman is recovering from its dreadful past. New resorts are being built every year, and more people are coming to enjoy their holidays. Later on, it was time to head back from the mountains. But before leaving Choman, let's grab some food. As Iran is behind corner, there is an influence of Persian food. This meal, abgusht, is traditionally cooked for 8 hours and tastes really excellent. But now, let's departure. The only road leading to Choman is Hamilton Road, built by engineer Hamilton through the extremely difficult and largely unmapped terrain of Zagros Mountains. He helped to build the road for the British when they took control of the area after the collapse of Ottoman Empire at the end of the First World War. It was built in the face of extreme weather, widespread pestilence and tribal conflicts. Hamilton's team included Kurdish, Arabic and Persian workers, but also an Assyrian Christian, a Hindu and a Jew. Because of the religious differences, Hamilton decided that no one would have a holy day of rest but a difficult 7-day work week. For his efforts, Hamilton was honored with this statue built in his memory. The Zagros Mountains are crucial to the region and home to one of few long-distance mountain trails in the Middle East, the Zagros Mountain Trail. Now we need to walk in one line because there are mines in the area. So, this is the old military fort from Saddam Hussein times. This 13 days, over 200 km long trek starts near the town of Akre and ends in Choman, right under Halgurd. Akre itself is known as one of the most authentic and atmospheric towns in Kurdistan. Akre lies to the north of Erbil and was established in the 7th century BC. The city is known not only for its natural beauty, but also as the capital of Newruz. Newruz, meaning New Day in English, is the most important holiday for Kurds. It marks both the New Year and the beginning of spring, celebrated on the night of 20th to 21st March, which is actually why the Kurdish flag features 21 sunbeams. The green color on the flag symbolizes local landscapes, white stands for peace, and red represents the struggle for freedom. I have some of my best memories from Newruz celebration. The entire festival is filled with vibrant, unique energy. People sing, dance and have fun, with thousands climbing the surrounding mountains of Akre. It's also a meeting point for all Kurdish influencers who take photos with Kurdish flags and connect with each other. Of course, the event is observed by Peshmerga military and fire department officers to ensure safety. In the afternoon, people prepare torches, getting ready for the great fire. The true spirit of the festival comes after sunset. The scene just felt so epic, like from the Lord of the Rings. People ascend the mountains with torches, lighting up the path with the sound of fireworks, and fill the air with energy the same as for the last thousands of years. The name Akre itself comes from the Kurdish word agar, meaning fire. This town used to be once a stronghold of Zoroastrianism, an ancient religion native to the area before Islam. Zoroastrianists are worshipping fire, a symbol of light, godness and purification in this place for millennia. A spiritual founder of this mystical religion was known as Zoroaster or Zerdesht in Kurdish. Newruz celebrations came from the legend of Zahak, an evil king ruling for thousands of years so brutally that the spring never arrived. The hero Kaveh, who lost 6 sons to Zahak's cruelty, led a rebellion. After defeating the evil king, Kaveh set fires on the hills to celebrate and signal his victory, bringing spring back to Kurdistan. Since then, the fires of Newruz annually celebrate victory of good over evil and the return of spring. For me, Newruz wasn't just a celebration of fire, but also of water. One of the strongest rains in recent years arrived, and I was completely soaked, so I had to borrow the flip-flops and this red towel instead of a sweatshirt. Well, Iraqi Kurdistan is not celebrating just one new year. Not even 2, but many more. Other ethnic groups in the region also celebrate the beginning of spring. A few days after Newruz, Akitu celebration begins. To celebrate this holiday, let's return to Erbil, to its Christian neighborhood of Ankara, which is a site of many churches, clubs and celebrations, known for its ubiquitous liquor stores. Akitu roots go back to the ancient Babylonia and Mesopotamia, possibly to the first empire ever existed, Sumer and Akkad, and the tradition continues till this day. In translation, Akitu means head of the year. Entrance to this festival decorates the well-known Ishtar Gate of Babylon. As with Newruz and other major gatherings in the country, the festival is protected by numerous armed soldiers.
Be it from the plains or from the mountains, is one unified and undivided nation.
Akitu has been preserving ancient traditions for over 6,000 years. It brings back past kingdoms and civilizations, and today, Akitu is celebrated by Christian communities of Assyrians, Syriacs, Arameans, and Chaldeans, each having its own churches or even a specific language of the Mass. Sad is that due to many challenges, be it mistrust towards government, persecutions, recent war with Islamic State, many Christians are fleeing the country, often through the Kurdistan region, from which they continue further west. In recent decades, the Christian population in Iraq has fallen from 1.5 million to barely 230,000 in 2013. 10 years later, the number was estimated just to 140,000. Sources say that after Israel, Iraq has the most biblical history of any other country in the world. These lands are where the roots of Christianity began, a home to some of the oldest and most impressive Christian monasteries in the world. One of them is the Marmatai Monastery, about 90 kilometers from Erbil, known as one of the oldest Christian monasteries in the world. Legend says its founder, Marmatai, healed the children of Assyrian king Sennacherib II. The king was furious that his children later on converted to Christianity and killed them. After that, as a penance, while regretting his actions, the king built this monastery on Marmatai's request. The date of this event is traditionally set to December 352, and Marmatai's death is commemorated as a holiday till this day. Further east, closer to the town of Duhok, lies Al-Qush. Al-Qush is home to many Assyrians who mostly follow the Chaldean Catholic Church. Nearby, hidden in the mountains, lies the Rabban Hormizd monastery, used for medications for centuries. It is named after its founder, Rabban Hormizd, who lived a hard, stern life dedicated to religion and medicating. The monastery has endured numerous challenges throughout the ages, including attacks by conqueror Timur, Kurds, Ottomans. Several years ago, just a few kilometers away, was once area controlled by ISIS. Do you see that road visible right from the monastery? Islamic State used to be right there. That's how close this place was to destruction. Yet Al-Qush is still standing and bearing the heritage of the ancient Assyria. The mighty empire of Assyria left traces all over the region, such as in the nearby village of Kinis, which hosts the largest single Assyrian sculpture in existence, showcasing Assyrian gods and kings.
Here you can see King Sennacherib standing behind the main chief god of the Assyrian Empire, the Assyrian god Ashur.
Although we have just a little information about the old Assyrian traditions, we know they enjoyed making wine.
And they're using dark grapes, and the grape that's coming down is red. So you have a lion that is growing or bleeding out blood.
Sad is that archaeological sites across the region are frequently polluted by tons of waste and often serve as picnic spots. In Kinis, you can relax on the head of thousands years old statue of Assyrian king. Speaking of holidays, we can't overlook one of the most important events for locals, Ramadan. This Muslim holiday commemorates the month when the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad. What stands out most about Ramadan is fasting. No food or even water is allowed from sunrise until sunset. But when the sun sets, the real feasts begin. Another fascinating aspect of Ramadan is Eid al-Fitr, which marks the end of the fasting month. I found this day somehow similar to Halloween. Children go from house to house, shouting Eid Piruz Ba, meaning Happy Eid, and in return, they receive sweets. Another important cultural celebration is Kurdish Clothes Day. On this day, everyone dresses in traditional clothing unique to their culture or village and takes to the streets to showcase the heritage. A few days after Akitu Festival, in mid-April, another important New Year celebration is taking place, this time for Yezidi people. Yezidism, a religion practiced by the Yezidi people, is one of the oldest and least understood faiths in the world. Centered mostly to just northern Iraq, there is only 1 million Yezidis worldwide. The Yezidi faith blends elements of Zoroastrianism, Christianity, Islam, and other ancient Mesopotamian religions, creating a unique cultural heritage that has survived for thousands of years.
We see the God by the nature, by the sun, by the moon, by the star, by the everything with the nature. When we pray to the light of the sun, and we say, I want all people live a good life, and the last one me. 2 times. 1 time with sunrise, 2nd time before the sunset.
The religion of the Yezidism is based on oral history, and they do have 2 books where you have some of their mythologies, etc., written in. But the majority of the religion is really traded in the oral way.
The spiritual heart of Yezidism is the town of Laish, the most important holy city for Yezidis.
It is important for every Yazidi, at least once in their life, to visit the temple site for baptism.
Each corner in this holy city has its spiritual meaning and symbolism. One of the traditions involves tying knots in a piece of cloth. If someone unties the knot, they release the wish of the person who tied it. In return, you tie your own knot, hoping someone will fulfill your wish in the future. Another custom is to throw a piece of clothes on the sacred wall, with the belief that if it sticks, it will bring good luck.
You need to close your eyes.
This ritual is happening inside the temple dedicated to Sheikh Adi, a holy prophet connected with the holiest mythical figure of Yezidism, symbolized by a peacock. The peacock can be frequently seen decorating entrances to Yazidi shrines throughout the country. The shrines are recognizable by the specific conical roofs.
Depending on which caste you are, there are specific clothes that you are allowed to wear and specific clothes you are not allowed to wear. And you also cannot intermarry into these castes. Important to know about the Yezidism is you cannot convert to it. You are born into it, and that's it.
The Yazidi genocide, one of the darkest chapters in recent history, took place in August 2014 when ISIS attacked the Yazidi community. Tens of thousands of Yazidis fled to the Sinjar mountains, where they were trapped for days without food, water or shelter. Carrying a gun was necessary, children included, to defend families as they faced constant threats from the surrounding militants. ISIS brutally executed countless Yazidis, girls were sold to slavery, and mass graves were discovered across the region. The scars of this atrocity run deep till this day. Apart of all the celebrations, there was another thing happening in April 2024, which stood in my memory. The tension in the Middle East escalated dramatically after Israel launched airstrikes targeting Iranian diplomats in Damascus on the 1st April 2024. In retaliation, over 500 drones and missiles were launched from Iran towards Israel. And well, Iraq is right in between, caught in the crossfire. That night in Erbil, I could hear the rockets being shot down above the city. For me, it was just one night I spent afraid of the sky falling down. But for some people in Kurdistan, it's everyday reality. Let's move north near the town of Duhok and its surroundings. This area is famous for many beautiful and historical places, such as the old town of Amedi, strategically positioned on top of a hill. Let's not forget the Turkish cold water of Deraluk, offering a perfect escape from the summer heat. It's considered as one of the nicest places in Iraqi Kurdistan. Nearby lies Shanidar Cave, which has provided valuable insights into Neanderthals, including their lifestyle and funeral traditions. Some of the oldest skeletons worldwide were found here, and recently a face of Neanderthal, who lived 75,000 years ago, was reconstructed. This recreation is featured in a recent Netflix documentary. But during my stay in this area, I witnessed the daily reality. This place is infamous for the frequent airstrikes carried out by the Turkish military against the PKK, Kurdistan Workers' Party, positioned in the surrounding hills. As I traveled through this area, which is generally advised to avoid, I heard the stories of local people, afraid of the side effect of this conflict, and also for the future of their families. Civilian casualties, material destruction and forest fires sparked by the strikes during the summer months are all too common. This ongoing conflict is affecting every part of life here, not just humans but also animals. One of the aspects that troubled me the most in Kurdistan were the conditions of animals. I had the chance to meet Dr Sulaiman, a renowned veterinarian who runs an NGO dedicated to protection and care of local fauna. The stories he told me about the struggles of local animals were both sad and eye-opening.
We have a very big problem with the stray dog. We sent a law draft to Kurdistan Parliament, and fortunately they approved it in 2022. According to this law, each city have right to make a shelter to spay and neuter and release again to the nature. It's forbidden you kill the stray dog because before this time, each province have right to kill their dog. We got call from some people that there is a bear. He was trapped by a fence near to the border between the Kurdistan region and Turkey. Maybe more than 4 days, and me and a major from Peshmerga force, we tried to sleep him by anesthesia. Then we released him from the fence. It was a war zone. There is a Turkish military and there is a Peshmerga, and the area was very dangerous. So any mistake from us, maybe we get shot from both sides.
Generally, the border areas of Kurdistan, such as where the bear was trapped, are problematic. Let's look why. Kurdistan is controlled by PDK, Kurdistan Democratic Party, governing Erbil and all the places we have traveled so far. Then there is PUK, Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, controlling the south of Iraqi Kurdistan. Although they are considered as political parties, I like to think of local politics as a tribe system. After all, contacts and your family name are what matters in Kurdistan. PUK and PDK used to have a civil war about 30 years ago. Now they managed to get along. However, as a part of the same country, there are strict border checks and some legislative differences. But in the border and mountain regions, another group operates, the PKK, which is labeled as a terrorist organization by many countries. These areas are essentially war zones, making travel there highly dangerous. Knowing the local conditions and staying on the safe roads is crucial. Traveling into unknown areas can be deadly, as it was for the group of Danish tourists who accidentally drove onto a PKK bomb planted on a side road. A part of the political situation, Duhok governorate hides another serious problem, which could have fatal consequences for whole Iraq. Mosul Dam, the largest dam in the country. Marked as the most dangerous dam in the world, its collapse would release a 110-meter high wall of water, reaching the city of Mosul in about 2 hours and eventually Baghdad. More than 10 million lives would be endangered. The situation became critical in 2014 when ISIS took control of the dam, but fortunately, it has since been repaired and now it's more stable. To end on a more positive note, let's explore the southern part of Iraqi Kurdistan, an area controlled by the PUK, which is home to many hidden gems. Dukan Lake, with its stunning azure waters, is one of them. Like Sulaymaniyah, a capital of this governorate, is known as the city of culture and excellent food. Nearby Sulaymaniyah is Havraman, a favorite spot for locals, offering an escape to nature and a unique cafe situated right on the border with Iran. Basically, this theme separates these two countries. Now we are in Iran. Unlike the tense atmosphere of Choman, this border area felt much more relaxed. One of Sulaymaniyah's most significant landmarks is Amasuraka, once being Saddam Hussein's intelligence building. This former prison and torture facility is now open to visitors as a reminder of the horrors of the Saddam Hussein's regime, during which happened the Halabja massacre, the largest chemical weapons attack on civilians in history, with thousands of casualties. My friends in Sulaymaniyah shared stories of how their families, along with over 1.5 million Kurds, fled their homes during the Kurdish uprising in 1991 due to the fears of war. They sought refuge in the mountains and neighboring countries, primarily Iran, which opened its borders to the refugees. The journey was dangerous, marked by harsh winter conditions and significant casualties. In more recent history, during the Ba'ath regime fall in 2003, many Sulaymaniyah residents evacuated the city once again due to the fears of another chemical attacks as the last wave of the regime's resistance. All this reminds me the Kurdish motto, no friends but the mountains. Basically, as Kurdistan is surrounded by regimes suppressing Kurdish identity, the mountains remain the only refuge from heavy military presence and political ideologies. In Sulaymaniyah, as well as elsewhere in Kurdistan, I met so kind people who really made my stay in this country special. What I know I will never forget is local hospitality. Guests have here a top priority, and locals never let foreigner in need without help. Just listen to this. Some tourist towns do not have hotels, because it would be a shame not to let visitors stay in the homes of locals. At the end, my stay in Kurdistan was shortened to 6 months. But these 6 months proved to be an amazing experience, which taught me a lot. I realized that in Europe we often lack the strong sense of just and close family ties that are so important in Kurdish culture. Life is hard here too. Political and even cultural situation is so complex, uncertainty is ubiquitous. Planning anything long term is not easy task, as no one can simply predict what will happen in the next part of the year. The current generation, born in the 80s, has seen so many wars. Iran-Iraq war, Gulf war, then Kurdish civil war, after that ISIS. Way too much for one lifetime. For any lifetime. Living in these conditions, it's something that's influencing everyone, and made me appreciate the stability my home country offers much more. As everything has to end, so did my adventure in Iraqi Kurdistan. I arrived home with tons of memories and stories I want to share with the world. And I can't wait for the next adventure. Search